George MacIntyre Day is here. Just about an hour or so ago, MacIntyre announced his decision to commit to Tennessee. And today I got Austin Price from VolQuest on to talk all about the recruiting impact that MacIntyre could have on Tennessee's 2025 class. We'll also find out who could be the next recruit to commit to the Volunteers. But first, Tennessee fans, exciting time. Hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We're covering all things recruiting, especially Tennessee. So go ahead, hit subscribe for me, please. All right. Let's bring on Austin Price from VolQuest. Big moment today, Austin. Tennessee lands the number 3 ranked quarterback in America. How important is it for this class to have George MacIntyre locked up this early? I mean, February signing day for 2024 is February 7th. So 2025 cycle hasn't even officially started, and Tennessee gets their guy?
It's huge. And you already got a 4-star tight end, and Jack Van Dorslayer, committed to Tennessee on the offensive side of the ball. Tennessee's got some big targets in 25, and George leads the way, right? Like George has done a really nice job of working, kids behind the scenes for, probably a couple of months now. And, he's built relationships with kids. Even if the kids didn't know where George was going, they are interested in this George MacIntyre announcement. And so it's a big deal to get him in the boat, and, before the calendar turns to February. And now next time Tennessee has a junior day, which will be February 3rd, you can bet George will be in town and George will be working all those players.
Yeah, perfect. Because I wanted to know, what sort of impact will George MacIntyre have on Tennessee recruiting? Well, let's take a look at some of these top targets, starting right there at the top. David Sanders and Josh Petty, 2 elite offensive tackles. Both will probably be 5 stars before the cycle's over. Josh Petty, a 4-star, but ranked number 18 overall. David Sanders, number 2 overall. Tennessee could use these guys to block for George MacIntyre. How much of a priority are they? Could Tennessee land both of them?
I think that's an interesting question. Petty grew up a Tennessee fan. And, again, once you kind of become a recruit, you start to distance yourself a little bit from that. But it gives Tennessee kind of a nice little, crack in the door to his recruiter, right? Like it gives them okay, you already kind of had some feelings for Tennessee as a kid. Maybe they're not as strong as they used to be because you're now a recruit and you have to separate yourself a little bit. But you can kind of still dive into those warm and fuzzies a little bit as a recruit. George is going to do that. George is going to tell him, hey, man, I need you being one of my guys that block for me. He's already working David Sanders. David Sanders and George MacIntyre already talk. They talk quite a bit. And so it's not surprising that those are 2 high-profile names that Tennessee is going to go after in the 2025 cycle. And we'll see kind of what their timeline is and, where Tennessee, kind of can get to in their recruitments going forward.
Yeah, those would be massive pulls, figuratively and literally. Athlete Cam Sparks, he's up next. I want to talk about him. 6'3", 210, out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. He's number 63 overall in the country. What position, first of all, are they recruiting Athlete Cam Sparks at? And Chattanooga, I mean, another local guy to get in the boat early, huh?
Yeah, plays at Chattanooga Baylor. Plays on the same 7-on-7 team as George MacIntyre. And those two have a nice rapport. Matt Ray has talked to Cam Sparks. Cam Sparks sounds like he'll do something this spring, early summer at the latest. But I think you see him start to try to, work his way through his kind of top contenders: Michigan, Georgia, Tennessee. Some of the 3, those 3 are some of the main competition, for Cam Sparks. And so to be able to get a guy like him would be big. And Tennessee wants him as a receiver. Michigan, I'm told, is recruiting him more defense. But Cam likes himself on offense. And so, again, I think that's kind of where things are at with Cam Sparks right now as we hit late January.
All right, let's stay in the state of Tennessee, back to Nashville, actually. Ethan Utley, 6'4", 275, ranked number 103 overall. Is this one that George MacIntyre could have a big impact on? I mean, they're from the same city.
Same city. They play each other, obviously, in D2 AAA in the state of Tennessee, in the private school, big classification. So, yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that George could have an impact on Ethan Utley. Ethan Utley's mom had a really good relationship with Coach Rodney Garner when he was at Georgia, and I think she was down in that area as well. So Utleys have known Coach Garner for a long time. So ultimately, that'll be probably the biggest impact that Tennessee could have. But George will definitely have an impact on Ethan Utley, just being a local kid who will continue to work the big defensive lineman from Innsworth.
Yeah, now Utley's on the defensive side of the ball, but on the offensive side of the ball, one more name we got to hit on, wide receiver Rashard Jackson, number 253 overall. Is he one of these weapons that George would like to have around him when he steps on campus?
100%. And another guy he plays 7-on-7 ball with. And so there's going to be a natural tie there. And there's two other receivers that George is working really hard. Jamie French, just decommitted from Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
Caleb Cunningham, the wide receiver from the state of Mississippi. So, Georgia's working a lot of these guys, but Rashard Jackson is someone who I think will get more and more traction as his recruitment goes on. On3 is the only site currently that has ranked him, at least the last time I looked, which was about a week ago. Mm-hmm. And he enters the fray at 253. Like, that's how much Charles Power thinks of Rashard Jackson, a kid that plays in the state of Tennessee, West Tennessee, out of the city of Memphis. And had a phenomenal junior year in what was a really, really good team out there in West Tennessee.
I gave you 5 names here. Who do you think on this list, who do you feel best about right now? I know it's real early. George MacIntyre just committed. But of all the names on this list, who do you feel best about landing at Tennessee? Well,
it's easy to say the two kids he knows best, which are Rashard Jackson. And then Cam Sparks he knows better than anybody because he's played longer with Cam than he has Rashard. So it's easy to go with those two. But out of the other ones, I'm going to go David Sanders.
Wow. That'd be a big one. We all went through the Jordan Seaton saga to Tennessee this season. So now maybe David Sanders will go a little bit more smoothly and actually end up at Tennessee. That would be huge. We'll see what happens. But today, George MacIntyre commits to Tennessee, and there could be more coming. All right, Austin Price from VolQuest. Thanks for dropping by the Inside Scoop.
Appreciate you, Josh.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that content, be sure to subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We have a new page dedicated only to recruiting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now.